you guys can. I don't know. I'm not sure because I mean, yeah, it's sad that the scientific skeptics get so few likes, for their pages and everything. It really saddens me. I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
CJ's page, ASAP, they don't have too many people, and my para page has heaps. And we mostly share live videos. Hello from Spirit, whoever's there. I've just got to click the drop down thingy here. I can't get to the damn thing for some reason. Hello, anyone from Spirit? Whoever you are, say hi. And yes, I made an announcement today, guys, too. I am now the officially Aussie content provider for the ASAP magazine, Seriously Strange,
I
which
saw
is
that.
fantastic. I've got great stuff to share with you all about our cursed pool and our cursed shipwreck as well, which will be on the first article I'm covering in Ian, which is on Ian's Doco Haunted. And yes, God, what else? So much else. I've got so much to tell you guys. I've got an entire 300 and something page out of print and really hard to find book. Like it's 28 years old now. And I got it for my birthday, like right back then. So I've got heaps to cover and I can't wait to share everything with everyone. So yes, anyone that's out there, subscribe to ASAP. It's really cheap, guys. It's like $20 Aussie. I don't know how much that is in American. That's 30 or something, isn't it?
no idea.
I have no idea with currency conversion, just like I have no idea with time zones. I really suck. Yeah. But yeah, it's really cheap, and I get to tell you guys all about this stuff. And two people are on. Hello from Kenny's page, and hello again from Three Tortured Souls, whoever's there. Say hi, folks. They don't bite,
Hello.
I promise. Well, maybe they do sometimes, but I haven't found out yet. Yes. I don't want to find out. Sorry, I'm still a bit sick too. I've got a head full of snot. Hello, the third person. Yes, it's Alex's damn bug. It's his fault. He's made someone else at work sick now too. It's a good thing I love him so much. Anyways, now, scientific skeptics, why don't they get many likes, on pages and things? The science guys.
The science guys. Well,
Yes, the ones that pull apart the tech and stuff. I mean,
is
even
done-
Lloyd doesn't have many followers on his YouTube channel, which is really sad. And Lloyd killed it.
I'll go out with a strange hypothesis.
Dave's here. Dave, hi, Dave.
Let me in.
How are you, dear?
Let me in. Kenny's
Yes,
like,
I
oh,
wasn't going to
block
it first.
him. Bicker him. Get him the hell out of here.
Now,
Yes, our salute to say hello to each
you,
other.
dear? My hair looks good today. I'm only live on cam for one brief moment, folks. I'm still barky, as you've heard. Yes. Now, go on with your answer, Tim. Sorry, dear. I'll mute my cam again.
I guess I'll just kind of take a stab and say that anything science-y related to the paranormal is maybe not flashy and a whole lot of fun necessarily, unless you just really enjoy that.
Yeah.
And I do not fault anybody that likes to get into the paranormal for fun and have a lot of excitement and go out and have fun and pay places $25, $100, whatever, to go have a good time, stay the night.
Yeah.
I don't fault that.
Good.
That's a good time.
It's good fun.
I just think if you kind of take it a little bit more seriously, it gets, well, for lack of a better word, it gets boring because it takes work. And I really don't know very many people that are that dedicated. I'm sure that there are a lot that are that dedicated, but I probably not near the level of people that just enjoy it, that just want to have fun. And that's okay too.
I'm all about that now. I mean, thanks first to Brandon and then to Ash. He was my second sensei. Gary was my first, of course. It's a Karate Kid joke. There was beer involved. Don't blame me. Don't judge. Yes. Yeah, but, I'm all about that now. Parapsychology, I think that's too hard for some folks, because the facts and figures hurt my head. They really do. I mean, you guys love that stuff. I mean, Dr. Jim says you're a maths geek, Dave, and Tim or Kenny, or no, all of you are, I guess.
Tim's the math guy. He took so many statistics, loved it so much he took it twice.
Oh my God.
I think that's what he keeps telling us. So
That's true. It's a true story. Yep. Apparently, you have to have it graduating. You have to have a passing grade in statistics to graduate. So, whatever. I took it until I got a passing grade. What are the odds?
They
I
just
don't
passed
know.
you. They passed
'Cause
you.
I
So
kept
you would just
failing.
stop coming to class.
I don't care. I got it.
Tim learned that 50% of the time he passes 100% of the time.
That's true.
I think
That's true.
I think I got like, oh God, 40% in one maths test one time. I was a miserable fail. I was epic. Yeah, but I'm really fascinated by, all that, because it proves both the reality of ESP and survival of personality after death. I need more coffee. Yes, it's like a dual reality. Like the thing with that Lloyd said about online telepathy, and that Rupert Sheldrake wrote about email telepathy. And the random number generators guy, Brian Williams. Please be my guest, Brian, if you watch this. I'm headhunting Brian because I'm fascinated, by why that sort of thing shows that stuff. The facts and figures and numbers, even though they hurt my head.
If I have to ask, I forward it to Dave. Dave's brilliant in that area. So
Well, there's going to be one area. Anyway, okay. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate that.
it's a true story.
Now, let's go way back here. Sorry, I get a bit overexcited. I'm like a big puppy sometimes. Yes. Now, childhood histories, and where have you guys lived? And did anything happen there?
Oh, geez. Childhood history. So nothing really happened.
Not that far back. I'm sorry. You guys aren't that old.
Okay. I was going to say,
Oh, you're too kind.
as a kid, never had really any experience. Did watch, Scooby-Doo, Ghostbusters, Poltergeist, those type of things. Stumbled across Lloyd's book, ESP Hauntings and Poltergeist, a Parapsychologist's Handbook. I think that was probably in high school. I finally came across that book, and I'm like, wow, people actually do this. And at the time in the US, there's degrees in it. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. So I started to look more into it. Obviously came across the Society for Psychical Research, the American Society for Psychical Research.
Started reading. Yes, I've got the tattoo and everything.
Yep. Started reading some of the academic papers, and took more of with my career path, took more of a science analytical approach to it. And let's see, lived in Wisconsin, Illinois, back to Wisconsin. Lived in a 100-plus-year-old house that was a Queen Anne Victorian we had the opportunity, Jen and I, to live there for about a year and a half. A lot of stuff supposedly going on there. We did a kind of a living lab research project for that year and a half. So that was interesting. That's actually what made us think that going and spending 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours at one place at one time is not sufficient. So we honestly completely stopped doing. We stopped doing that.
Comments. Sorry, guys. Beth 420. Tucker is on later, guys. And Tim Vickers. Hello, Tim. Daniel Reed. Hi, Daniel.
In the chat room.
Sorry, I missed the comments, folks. I really am bad at this stuff. Yes, sorry. Hi, everyone. Is that you, Beth Darlington? Are you Beth 420 by any chance? Or is that another Beth? I'm sorry. Hi, whoever you are. I can send a link to the guest room if that's you, Beth. You can jump on later too, and towards the end, because we've got tons to cover. Now, anything happen later in your houses that you've lived in? Dave, I think you mentioned something happened in.
We had a variety of things in that one house for a year and a half that, when you look at and think, okay, they might have normal explanations or they might not. And a lot of the data we collected, we ran data loggers and video systems pretty much 24/7 as much as we could. And we had a variety of things that pretty much match up with some of the other literature and the published information out there that you get certain variability in the EMF, or you get certain increase in EMF spikes and dips when people report things. So it correlates with some of the other literature out there. But then when we moved
Kenny with the roller coaster,
we went to Pennsylvania, lived at a place, nothing happened there. Came back to Illinois, lived in 2 places so far, nothing's ever happened there. And we spent years and years and years, which, now I kind of cringe when I think we used to go to private homes, and maybe 1 or 2, we had things that you'd look at and go, I can't explain it right now. I don't know what it is, but we can't explain it. But for the most part, that one house we spent the year and a half in, because it was 24/7. That was way more, I think, insightful, and we learned a lot more doing that than any other place. But no, we don't. Everywhere we go, we don't have anything happen. We actually rarely do have things happen, and even the place where things did happen, it would happen. There'd be a little flurry of activity, then it would stop completely for months. And it's just like, okay, so I'm pretty sure I'm not, totally misinterpreting things, but it happened in streaks, and then it would go away. So anyway, that's it for me. So
now, how about you, Tim? Anything that happened to you or your family? Because that raises the possibility. I need more coffee. Possibility of genetic, familial telepathy, sort of thing. Like Carl Jung, stuff happened to his sister and his mother, I think, with that bread knife and the cracked table, that sort of thing.
Nothing like that. I grew up. I've born in West Virginia. I've moved around, but ultimately I've come back and always lived here. Love it here. I can't say anything happened, but one of the things I guess that helped, at least I think, shape me was I grew up with some really joking aunts, and my mom was funny, and they just, it was a lot of fun. And so, if anything would happen, like if we would hear something in the house, or if something was scary, that, a bump, or the lights go out in a storm, my aunt and my mom would tell me all the time. They were like, well, there's a ghost here. The ghost is George. You don't have to be afraid. And I think a lot of it was probably their way of helping me kind of, if I was scared, to say, you name the thing that you're scared of. And a lot of times it doesn't, it helps it.
Tim's in West Virginia, the power went out a lot there.
It still does.
It's beautiful, though. It looks gorgeous.
Gets up on the
I'd
roof.
over there and visit you guys sometime. And Kenny looks, Pennsylvania looks beautiful too, Kenny. That's where you live, isn't it?
It's beautiful this time of year. I don't live there anymore. I moved to New York, Western New York, so I'm up there now. And,
wow. So that's not the crowded part.
Yeah. It's
and whereabouts are you, Dave, again?
I am northwest of Chicago, Illinois, about 40 miles or so in the Midwest.
Okay. So is that nice, like quiet?
Where we are, yeah. We try to avoid the city.
Oh, that's good. I never want to see the city again. Yeah. Going back to the familial thing. My late mom was very supportive and, encouraged curiosity and didn't scare me or anything. She was really supportive and encouraging, because I was a sitter in her circle from age 5. Now, Kenny says, hi guys, Tom's World. Hello, Tom. Who are you, Tom? What's your last name?
Oh, he's nobody. He's got a whole world to himself. He doesn't need anything. No, he's a good guy.
Tom Thanos.
Yeah. Now, what was I going on to next? I've got questions right here too. Early steps into the paranormal. How did you guys first get started? Was it stuff that happened later in life, or what were your first steps into the field? Like, what organizations did you reach out to? What people did you reach out to, and everything?
I'm gonna let Kenny go first on this one.
He's got a long list.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks. Appreciate it.
That turned on my Belmont.
So getting into the paranormal, I grew up on shows like In Search of, Unsolved Mysteries, Sightings.
I loved that one.
Yeah, they are what I was excited for every week when they came on. And you had to make sure, back in those days, you had to make sure you're in front of
Nelly. Sorry.
Yeah,
Tom.
you had to be there in the television, right in front of the television, because otherwise you'd miss it. And so I grew up on that, always had an interest. And then when I got married, our gift to ourselves was a Commodore computer.
A really old one? A really old one with the games on tape and everything?
Commodore 64?
Yes.
Yeah. I had one of those too, yeah.
I had one of them. I love playing Carmen Sandiego and Wagon Train and everything.
But
Except
we
I
got
died
on the,
all the time on that wagon
on the internet
train.
and looked up some ghost hunting teams, and there was one in my area, and I was like, oh, let me go see what they're doing, and went out and did the ghost hunting thing for a while, and then realized that I was doing things wrong. Had a few experiences not doing things just wrong, just doing things really, really wrong. And, decided to look into more the science literature about it, and that got me into skepticism and this organization that I work for now. And so actually I do it full time now. So I'm
the
CSI is
CSI.
So CSI is what I work for. That's the department that I work for. That's the Committee for Skeptical Inquirer, and that is under CFI, which is the Center for Inquiry. That's like the umbrella organization. So,
and you're a writer for the magazine too.
Yes, I write for the magazine. I produce videos for a YouTube series for them. I do lecture series. I just got back from the West Coast from doing a couple lectures out there, and I do a whole bunch of other things around here that I just made up projects to do. They let me do it, so
you got bored.
I'm happy. So me.
Now how about? Oh, go on, Kenny. Sorry.
I'm done.
Yeah.
That's
now,
good.
Team Dave, how about you guys? What was your first start? Who did you reach out to, and what was their response? Did you get any rude responses or anyone ignore you when you first reached out?
Yeah, I think it was the American Society for Psychical Research. I reached out to them, and
they've gone defunct now, haven't they?
Yeah, they're missing in action. People are trying to figure out what happened to the funding and
that's so shonky.
Yeah, it's too bad. And the physical assets that they had, so nobody really knows. And then all of a sudden,
all those books and
the buildings for sale, and I mean it's a mess. So I reached out to them, and they, like any good organization looking for members, hey, glad you're interested in the field, sign up for our organization, sign up for the journal, send us however much money. And I'm like, okay, I'm in high school, so I'm not going to do that, but thank you. And then a little bit later, reached out and took some of Lloyd's classes when he was teaching he was teaching at JFK, I believe, online classes. And then what was it? Who else did I reach out to? A bunch of different people at that point. I reached out to Dr. Jason Braithwaite. I reached out to...
He's the EMF guy, isn't he?
Yes, the guy who did a lot of the EMF studies using the MADS system, working for I think he was affiliated with ASSAP for a fair amount of time. Yes. And then he moved on, and I think he's just doing normal neuroscience type research right now. So I reached out to him, reached out to a couple other people, Dr. Carolyn Watt. I took her class online. Yes. I reached out to, other people, Dean Radin. And then I just, it grows from there. Brandon Masulo and
you and Brandon are good friends. That's really great. That's fantastic.
Jason,
and do you know, I found out the other day that I was friends with you, Dave, before you, Kenny.
Really?
I don't know how that happened because that's sort of my friends list, all 111 of them.
Well,
I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, usually you should be friends with me first. I can warn you about that. I can warn you about Kenny.
True story.
And
Yeah, warn her not to be friends with me.
anyway, so
See how that goes.
it ended up reaching out to all kinds of different people, and it took more of a academic bent. Ended up doing some work with Joey Caswell, who was in Michael Persinger's lab, and
I
so it
love
just kinda
Persinger.
took off from
Why he
that.
got such a bad reputation?
yeah, some of his stuff isn't all that
I love that
popular
no
in
more.
mainstream
I
science.
love that No More Secrets thing that he did. You know, that lecture on the Schumann resonances. That was
Yeah.
fantastic.
I mean, he had a lot of good work. It's just a matter of getting it into the mainstream science. The work is, most of it's solid. Some of it has, there's questions, some of it, but for the most part, it was fairly decent. And there's interesting data there that just needs to be replicated. That's it. So anyway, that's my quick who I reached out to, and then I met these two guys, and it's been all downhill since then.
Yeah,
unfortunate. Now you, how about you?
Me?
Tim, how about you? Yes.
Starting into it, I'll say it's a lot like Kenny's. In Search Of was huge for me when I was a kid. I loved In Search Of. Leonard Nimoy. It was great.
Yes.
But there was a show called Night Stalker with Kolchak.
I love that one, Night Stalker. That was awesome.
Yeah, that terrified me. But like, I was like, I want that guy's job. Like that's what I want to do. So I had always been coupled with, I have adults that were telling me that, we have ghosts and they're nice and his name's George and all that. So it's kind of programmed, or if for lack of a better word, into believing it. However, through my day job, when I got like an official, true job, I met two other people that were looking to start a paranormal group around 99 or 98. And so we did, and we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Along the same, it's just, we did the best we could. I still have my, Dr. Gauss. Is that it? The Dr. Gauss.
Yes.
Oh God.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
I think I've got a Gauss master somewhere, but I don't use it anymore. I'm
there's, I probably have, 100 to 200 pictures of me walking around woods and cemeteries with that lovely thing. Yep.
Makes a noise like what do they call those things that like a Geiger counter,
Mm-hmm.
that ring sort of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
And so I'm going to say probably after about 3 or 4 years of doing that, I began noticing that truly we would basically get within reason the same stuff every time. Like, it didn't matter. Like, we might go, ooh, we heard something on an EVP. Oh my God, this is proof. Or, oh, that's a strange thing in the picture. We don't know what it is. But time and time and time again, we would always just be like this, so close to something, but not really identifying something. So I figured, like, I'm doing something wrong. If there is something there, I'm not doing something correct to measure it or whatever. So I started reaching out in different directions. Like Dave, I started thinking more sciencey about it. Like, what can I read? What can I catch up on?
Yeah.
And went that route. Ended up with a finding different type of Facebook pages that I think one was called Worst Paranormal.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
I think I remember that one actually.
Yeah, but I just remember finding that because that was pretty much one of the first media that I caught a hold of that was really very, very critical on paranormal claims and techniques. And I ended up seeing they linked something from Kenny's YouTube page, and this was a long time ago, and I just remember this guy was like, "You're stupid, fuck that, oh my God." I was like, "Oh, I like this guy. This guy's
really?
right." Yeah, so ended up doing that, and then ended up meeting these two, and I've almost got my ass kicked once a year because of it.
There is an origin story here on how we met, which is
yes.
Yeah, no, Dave, go ahead.
no.
How did you guys meet?
Come on, Dave.
Was it high school?
Well,
or,
who got okay? So no, who got the original Vickering? Kenny, right?
Oh God.
So there's a certain individual. I'm not going to say the name, Matt. You'll know who you are without saying the last name. But Kenny was kind of, I guess, friends, and you were on his podcast probably a couple times. And then, Kenny did something that this individual wasn't pleased with and got booted from being on his show.
I told the truth.
God forbid you told the truth and asked questions. It's a horrible sin with this individual.
Right.
Yes.
So
rubbish.
Then the next one after done
How
with
dare
Kenny,
people think?
come in. Here comes Tim. Tim spent probably a couple of years, wasn't it?
A couple of years doing.
It was a couple of years, and that's actually how I met Tim, through this individual. They had me on their podcast, and so that's how I got to know Tim, and actually got to know Kenny through basically the same way. So then Tim asked questions and challenged ideas, and then he got booted. And then I was next in line to be the co-host. And I think you know where this is going at this point, Kat, that I also asked questions.
It all went downhill for you from there.
Yeah. And then the problem was that, I was, I think, a little more open to criticism and discussing topics openly. And we thought we would invite
JD.
Kenny.
Hi, JD.
Hey, JD. We would invite Kenny and others on to ask questions. And I tried to moderate, I guess you could say, and that didn't go over well. And then before I know it, I got kicked out of that show. So we have a saying, it's called getting vickered. So Tim got vickered from that show. Kenny got vickered. I got vickered. So it's honestly one individual that brought the three of us together. So I know we make fun and we sometimes kind of rip on that person, but I will say the good thing about that is something good came out of the bad situation we all had experience that the three of us met. And I wouldn't say we're not all on the same page when it comes to paranormal stuff. I think we're all a little bit different there.
Which is
the same book.
What's
We're
that?
in the same book.
We're on the same. Yeah, we're looking for
We're
looking for the truth, and we realize there's a right and a wrong way to do things. No, you can tell me there's no experts in the field, but there is a right and a wrong way to explore and look into things. So I think the other thing I really liked out of that is we found, between the three of us, we found a group of people that we could professionally disagree and have a discussion. And sometimes it gets a little heated sometimes, and we have no problem telling each other, F you and screw off. And then by the time we're done with our topic discussion, either through Messenger or phone call or in person or on the show, it's, we let it go. It's like we're still friends, we still get along, we'll still hang out, have a beer or whatever. It's not personal. It's just airing professionally and having a good discussion on our different ideas.
I got to say, I think that's so needed. I do. I love that. I think that's one of the things I love most about both of y'all is that I get to.
And JD Sword just showed.
Oh, fuck, JD, what is wrong with you?
Oh.
Dude, I fell asleep and then I woke up and like, where are we at? Oh, I didn't miss anything. These guys, Tim, Kenny, and JD are, Pope's Exorcist. I'm like, okay, now I feel obligated. I feel obligated to watch this movie. So I watched it. I'm like, you guys suck.
Is that the one with Russell Crowe in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
he's not bad, actually. I loved Gladiator. I surprised the hell out of myself by liking that.
For entertainment, it's fine. If you're trying to tell me, you're convincing me that any part of that is true. Besides the Pope maybe had an exorcist, or there's an exorcist group, maybe.
Shit.
But a lot of it, I think they took a lot of creative. Oh
my God. They didn't just get a creative license, they took the whole department.
Oh God. Anyway. Yep, here's to that. I'm on to Guinness now, folks. Cheers. It's 11:30 in the morning. It's okay. It's celebratory purposes only. Yes, now let's go on to talk about gadgets further. Connect, don't go there, guys.
Oh, you got the expert here. Kenny, go. Kenny, connect, go.
This one's you, Kenny.
And I've got to pee. Good. Go,
Oh my
Kenny. I've got a
God.
piece, so I'll mute my mic too.
All
This is
right.
the first
Well,
time Kenny's
then,
going to just be able to ramble on when somebody takes a bathroom break. This go
3TS
ahead.
is now taken over fully. Here we go.
All right,
the
Connect. What do you think?
The Kinect is a game console. It's a game peripheral that is just used as a controller. It is not meant to capture ghosts. It's not designed that way. It's not tested that way. It is not any way a ghost hunting device at all. It makes mistakes. It's only as good as its programming, and its programming is made to look at players in a still environment, which is really important. It's made to go on top of your television or on your base where the television is and stay there, not freaking move. So all of these people that put it on a handle and walk around with it are already breaking the rules. They're already tainting their data that's coming into it, because now it's not just seeing players move into the environment. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to see a player, an object come into the area, and it says, oh, well, it's moving into the area. That's a player. But now, because you're moving it around, everything is moving to that system. So everything is a potential player, which means your chairs, backpacks, trash bags, lamps, pillars, the edge of your sofa or couch, the armrest, all of this stuff can look like a figure because it's moving, and it's alerting the software saying, hey, this is moving in the scene. This might be a person. And then if it looks similar or somewhat like it, it gives you a stick figure. And I mean, if you watch some of these videos, the stick figures look like something from a horror movie.
Joe Para Oddity said agreed.
Oh, hey, Joe. But yeah, there's a guy that's on YouTube. He has a whole YouTube channel of his house being haunted, and he's quote unquote documenting it with an Xbox Kinect.
Really?
And what? Oh yeah,
really
yeah.
Kinect.
He's using it, and he's got because one of the things when I play with the original Kinect, the first version, you could not get stick figures to move around like a normal person. It didn't look like a normal person walking around the environment. It was just stick figures that looked like mutants from like The Thing, the original, not the remake, because the remake sucks. The original is the best. But it looked like all kinds of weird, like crab legs and all that stuff, and they're usually anchored in one spot. That's cool.
And dancing people. Dancing people.
Yes. Yeah, because their legs kick out and their arms kick out, and they do this kind of thing, which
and they can be vacuum cleaners and stuff too, can't they?
Yeah. So with the second version that came out, there's a way to capture video where you pretty much black out. It's almost like it's a chroma key, basically. But you can wipe out everything in the background except for the stick figures, and you can overlay that video onto another video, which means if you have a static camera, you're just taking the same shot the entire time. You can walk around and get the stick figure on you. You can walk around, get in bed, sit in a chair, mess around, go over and pretend like you're patting somebody's head, and then sit down in the chair later and get that original video and put it all together and make it look really cool. So I was able to duplicate it. I replicated it, showed how it was done. I did a whole video on it, showing you how to do it. And I even had practical effects where I knocked things over with the stick figure and not me. Like it's just a blank stick figure, no body, and it just knocks over stuff. So the Kinect is just it's a toy, and stop using it as a scientific tool.
All right. Explain this to me, Kenny.
Yes, sir.
That individual we've discussed before showed me a video of two ghost stick figures having sex. How do you explain that?
Procreation. Where are you going to get little kid ghosts?
I mean, I literally thought they were going to start on fire. They were moving so fast together. I mean, I'm not kidding. That was put forward as evidence of paranormal activity.
Good God, really?
Where do you think, where do you think ghosts come from, Dave? Did they just appear?
They're not dead people,
right?
Angels and demons. How do you think they get more? They
gotta get showing me videos like that.
That's paranormal porn.
Yeah.
I think you shared that video with us. Now that I'm remembering.
Yeah, I did. It was insightful, wasn't it?
Thanks for the torture.
Yep, you're welcome.
Now, Kenny, you've pulled apart a REM pod too.
I did.
He tears a lot up. He tears apart a lot of stuff.
I just
I've
tore
noticed.
apart. Somebody sent me one of these,
I've got one of those. Yes.
and I mean, I've
do.
taken them apart before, and I took
Oh,
this. I just took
SLS.
this off, so you can see that it's
Who's there? Joe Paris says SLS stand for sticks, loving sticks.
So this is basically all it is a toy car motor, which is this part,
Yes.
and you put it to a battery, it spins it, and this is a little magnet that you can get from Michael's craft store.
Yes.
And that's all it is. So you turn it on, and it just spins. That's all it does.
Seriously?
That's all it is, dude.
That's it?
That's it. Oh, I'm sorry. It's got an LED light.
There you go.
Well, if it's got a light,
It's not real without a light. Come on.
And that's it. There's probably, I think when I did the other one, the food for ghosts, that's how it's advertised.
Yes.
I took that apart, and I think there was a total of like $6 or $7 worth of parts, maybe.
Yes.
And that's when you got bulk, like these plastic PVC cases. You can get these in bulk.
Yes.
So, yeah. Well, the REM pod, I took that apart. The one that I took apart was the original REM pod that was released, and most of it, the bulk of it, was made of glue sticks, hot glue sticks.
Are you
Oh, good
seriously?
I'm
No.
serious.
Seriously, glue stick.
Really?
Glue
I've got
stick.
a busted one actually. The antenna fell
I'll
off.
tell you right
mine.
now, at 108 degrees right now in Chicago, that shit'll melt.
This
Oh God!
is that right? Yeah.
How
That
hot
one.
is that in Aussie?
So this
temps?
is the
Celsius.
PVC.
Hold on.
This
I'll
is the
check.
PVC case it was in, and I took it apart. This is something you get at Home Depot or Lowe's. It costs like $1.20 or something.
It's like
for
a
this.
piece of plumbing pipe or something.
That's it. That's exactly what it is.
Oh wow!
And yeah, when I took it apart, I cut it open, and most of it was a bunch of glue sticks that were cut up and then piled in there, and then other hot glue was put on it, and then resin.
John Kennedy's here.
John Kennedy.
Yo.
That's an appropriate greeting. Hey,
But
John.
basically, this is just
Hi, John.
it's a Junior Thurman device. It's a novelty toy. You can buy it for about $20, and if you have any kind of soldering experience,
And
You can
Daniel
put-
Reed says hi, John.
you can put it together in like a half hour. I have a bunch out in the display cases out in the seminar room here.
He's
but-
also selling them for $199.95.
God, yes, I think mine were quite expensive too. Now, what do you guys think of the Tri-Field Natural one? Oh, Melissa Kennedy says hello.
Hey, Melissa.
Hey, Melissa. Tim, what do you say about that?
The Tri-Field? I think I saw something about a paper.
The natural one, you know, the one that detects the Earth's frequency.
A natural Tri-Field. I think
Yes.
we saw one in a paper recently. Didn't we?
Not the natural one.
We
They're
didn't do
quite
the natural one.
expensive. I've
There
got
was
one
an
that-
article I wrote on it a long time ago, though.
Right.
Is it
Very
used to hunt ghosts?
That's the point.
Yes, it detects radio, microwave, natural Earth frequency, and one other. Oh God, I can't remember. Yes, it detects three. Yes, I really need more coffee, but I need Guinness too.
I don't.
Now, have you used gadgets in experiments, you guys? I know Kenny, you've
I
pulled them
think-
apart. You, Tim, and Dave, have you used any in experiments? You know, for psychic projection, PK, and stuff, that sort of thing.
That's Dave.
Yes, there was somebody who claimed that she had some sort of PK ability that we used one of the random number generators. She didn't have any
Yes.
impact on it, so we used it to see what she could do with that. Nothing happened there. As far as other stuff, we did a little work with a whole variety of different environmental sensors in an experiment when somebody went under an induced after death communication therapy, which is IDAC, which is part of
Okay.
EMDR. It's eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. That's a technique that takes it another step further.
Oh, good Lord.
They don't claim any
I need more coffee
paranormal
to
ability.
pronounce that one.
Yeah, they don't claim paranormal ability. It's an
Oh,
actual
Joe
psychological
Joe's
therapy.
got a question here, guys. What devices do you three use and trust?
Anything that doesn't say it's a ghost detector.
Exactly.
No, I for me personally, and I'll let these two answer next. Anything that can data log at a sample rate and a sensitivity, precision, and accuracy that I would find
Oh, John
acceptable for
Kennedy
doing
says we're
environmental
Bobless
studies.
tonight. Damn it, Bob.
So yes, I do use data logging equipment. That's it.
Yes. Now they're pretty good actually. The numbers make my head hurt. Everyone, you guys are all well and truly aware of that stuff. But thank God I got you guys to help me out with that, and Brian too. The results that he found in the with the random number generators with 9/11 and Princess Di's death were below. Could be put down to chance or random noise, he said. Now, could you guys explain random noise? What is random noise?
Random noise.
Let's go back
Here
to
we
the
go.
guy we were talking about earlier.
Sorry.
Tim.
Other than you guys, what is random noise?
Random noise
go back.
There's a certain level of background and randomness that you're going to get no matter what you're doing. It's something called there's probabilities, there's bell-shaped curved. And if you ran, like, for example, if you run an EMF meter in a haunted or non-haunted location, you are going to see a variety of low and high readings relative to whatever the average is. So you're going to see a bell-shaped curve. So what you're trying to do is determine on that bell-shaped curve, there's certain areas on the left and the right that it becomes more and more unlikely that those things would just happen by chance or noise in the system.
Yes. Okay.
But that alone is not enough. It usually has to be associated with some other experience, something else, because there's still going to be these little tail ends that you're going to have very high level readings or very low level readings. All that stuff in the middle, which is due to man-made sources, just the general background EMF. To me, that's something I would call basically background noise. That's all noise. Because what you're trying to do is detect a certain signal that's correlated with some other experience or something else in the environment that people are trying to study that they might claim as paranormal. Like, for example, if I saw an apparition and there was a large number of EMF spikes that I don't normally see in that environment, that's something that's more interesting. But the rest of it is really what you would almost consider background noise. And when you're out in the world doing experiments or studies, and it's not in a lab, it's not controlled, it's hard to control a house or an investigation, there is going to be a ton of what you would call background noise. It's all over the place. It's sounds from the street. It's people walking by. That's background noise. If you're trying to do EVP, you got to know that there's background noise. If you're trying to collect temperature data, depending on what equipment you use, you can walk around a house, there's variations in temperature. That's temperature noise. But what you're looking for is you're trying to identify something that more or less should correlate with another piece of information or another data point or an experience. Otherwise, to me, the normal stuff that you see all the time, you just record it, it's noise if you're looking for a particular signal to correlate with something.
Yes. Now,
how would you probably longer than you?
How would you explain the low results with Di's death and the tsunami and the 9/11 attacks? You know, why was it down lower than average?
I mean, they hypothesized
because the attention of the world was focused on it.
Yeah, they hypothesize there's some sort of global consciousness that if you get enough people focused on one thing that has a highly emotional event, it somehow impacts the output of a random number generator.
Right.
So
now,
I don't think anybody knows why it does that yet. I mean, there is data to support it. I mean, But again, things like 9/11 and the tsunami, those were big shifts, and they actually occurred before the event occurred. So they're like, okay,
So
why
there's a
is it starting
precog
to
thing,
shift?
like a precog thing.
Almost. That's what they're trying to figure out, is why did it start shifting before that and have such a dramatic deviation from randomness? But a lot of the other ones they look at, to be honest, it's
That's
interesting.
fascinating. Answer Joe's
Yeah.
question, and then James has a question as well.
Let's see. I've been experimenting with frequencies. I'm always using a spectrum analyzer. Thoughts? I'll leave this for Tim or Kenny.
Yes, I've got to mute my mic, folks. I'm going to refill my Guinness. Sorry, I'll be 1 second. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I'm going to leave it to Tim and Kenny to talk about frequencies
Go
here.
ahead, go ahead, kid.
You heard it too. You
Go ahead,
heard
Ken.
what I heard. Wow. Okay. So I have been experimenting with frequencies. We need to know more. Like what kind of experiments, what kind of frequencies, what are you trying to do? What's your hypothesis? What are you trying to test? I think I need more information before I go anywhere with this. Tim, Dave?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, are you pumping certain frequencies into the environment? Maybe I assume from saying that you use your spectrum analyzer, you're collecting frequency information and trying to discern if there's something in that. But like Kenny, I'd need a little bit more information on exactly what you're doing there.
Oh, right. But
I mean,
I'm glad somebody else picked that
I
up.
was just getting ready to respond to that. Oh, yes.
Yes.
How much does it pay? I'm not proud. I'll do whatever.
No, I've got to unmute my mic. Good Lord. John says, damn it, that autocorrect. And his first question was, how would you suggest minimizing background noise in the fertile?
In the fertile, I think in the field is what he corrected.
Yes.
You can. There's a couple ways. You could turn the mains power frequency off to the house. You can lock down and control the environment as best as you can. But even then, you're still going to have a level of noise. So to me, it's not so much. You want to do those things that I just said. You could use a Faraday cage for EVP. That should cut back on your noise in the system, or your ghost box, or whatever the hell else you're using.
But then that would explain any effect as PK sort of thing. Maybe.
That's the tough part when you try to explain one paranormal thing with another, like PK. Well, yeah, that's one of the arguments. And Kat, you probably know this, way back in the days of even early parapsychology. Like, okay, so if it isn't a discarnate entity, it could be human PK. So we're trying to say, okay, we don't know really what it is. If it's paranormal, if it's parapsychological, it could be this, it could be that. So it's really hard to discern those things. So anyway, back to John's question. The other thing you can do is it really depends on the type of analysis you do, because there are ways to do an analysis that takes the background noise into consideration when you do a statistical analysis. And then you try to, as I said before, you try to correlate it with other things. It's not just one reading, one spike. You're trying to correlate it. You're looking at frequencies. You're looking at distribution. You're looking at statistical analysis to help you understand if there's something there.
Oh, God, you're hurting my head.
Well, let me just say, as a person,
now we'll go on to.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Go on. We'll get to your question.
As a person that's taking 2 semesters of statistics, I agree with Dave. Now, I failed one of them, but the second one I got a C, which was passing. So Dave is correct.
Well, those are just my thoughts. I don't know if we go that far.
I love that. Dave is correct.
Now, I'm moving on to Joe's question. Then we've got a couple of other questions and something from James as well. 2 things from James. And John said, thank you, Dave. And Tom Flock says, yup, sup. Oh, sup. Sorry.
Sup.
Sorry,
Hey,
Tom. My head hurts from all the statistics and stuff. Yes. James says, in all serious, what was your first one, James? Sorry. In all seriousness, if you want some good paranormal stuff, you need to come to my workplace where I am now. I will post the link.
Okay. I'm always up for a trip to Wales. So Kenny has budget. He'll send us.
Okay, now he's the link, guys. Thank God it's not a hard to pronounce name. I hate Welsh spelling. I'm really good at spelling, but I hate the Welsh words. They hurt my head.
I would love to go. I would go in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It looks like a gorgeous place. Jim lived there once too, didn't he? Jim Clausen.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Did Jim live there? Dr. Jim?
I don't know. I don't know.
I think he did once. He has a hard to spell name in his profile. Something or other.
I'll have to ask him. I just call him Dr. Jim.
He was drunk when he said that.
It starts with a Y, so that's how I know it's Welsh. You know.
He probably sailed through there in his days in the Navy or something. All right.
Oh, Joe says good night, and he's using his SLS, and Tim just said I failed that too.
Tim.
Now, one sec, folks. I said sex. I've got to mute my mic. I've got to feed the cat. She's chosen right now to wake up, so I'll be back in a minute. Now, go ahead with
Kenny. Open mic.
Go ahead with experiments. My cat's name is Lara. Yes, I've just got to feed her. Now, experiments. Researchers past and present. Go ahead with that, guys. Unleash. I'll just feed the cat.
Tim, why don't you tell us what you're doing with a recent research project as much as you can without blowing away the whole idea here. 18-year results.
Blowing away. Sensing overtones with this show.
So I through conversation, which is another reason why I love you guys, just through this conversation, you guys make me think so much. I don't know what it was. It might have been my 3-second confrontation with the godfather of the paranormal. When it comes to attachments and haunted items, I had asked about like how or why do things attach. It did not go well with this person, but I just like to think about, is there a way that we can like test it? Can we measure it? Can we do something? So with the help of these two, we kind of brainstormed, and Kenny gave me 4 objects, one of which is alleged to have a measurable, or at least a recognizable claim of activity from a haunting. So what I thought I would do is I'm taking these 4 objects. I got 4 volunteers, and I sent each object to each volunteer for a month, and I want them to keep it and document anything that they experience, and then they're going to mail that back to me. Then I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to send it back out. And hopefully, after a rotation of all 4, at the end of 4 or 5 months, with the documentation, I'm going to see if we can present it to Kenny, because Kenny's the only one that knows what it is and what the allegations are. And I figured it would be interesting if the activity that is reported to if the activity that this object has or is reported to have follows these other people. That would at least be interesting. Like, I'm not exactly sure what that would mean, other than, damn, I mean, that's pretty cool. I really haven't thought enough. Like, what am I going to do if it does?
That's the follow-up. That's when we get the extra grant money to start studying what the hell is going on.
But I figure, I like coming up with ideas to experiment with stuff. And Dave is Dave's
too.
good.
I love experiments.
Dave tells me if I'm going to mess up or not, which is one of the reasons it's good.
Now I hope you guys will be part of my one too, with the sense of smell.
Yes. Yeah, I think
the agent senders just don't choose the contents of your pet's toilets. I'm hoping Alex won't, but I've left that open, of course, because everyone has pets. Yes, but don't choose that. Now, other researchers, SPR stuff, I'm big on that. modern investigators, cases, and experiments that you really find interesting. Oh, sorry, investigators other than, Raiden, Targ, Sheldrake. I love Sheldrake.
Zach Baggins.
Now that's the drinking game for today, folks. Anytime Kenny mentions something Zach does wrong, you can have a drink.
Good grief.
I will have one right now, in fact. I've got my Guinness right here.
Oh.
We won't play the energy one, though. Kenny will get too drunk.
Other investigators. Pretty much I stick to whatever's published in the peer-reviewed literature. That's kind of who I look at and read about. So
yes.
James Horan, Brian Lathe, their citizen science efforts and what they're doing with kind of taking a new look at the field. So, I mean, between Jim Horan, Brian Lathe, Brandon Masulo, there's a bunch of others I'm sure I can name, but those are the ones I'm kind of looking at. But those aren't really investigators. Those are more like academic researchers. If I want to watch somebody investigate, I'll watch one of Kenny's YouTube videos.
Yes, that's serious.
Thanks, Dave.
Yes, and I mean, you guys are favorites of mine too. I mean, all my guests have been my inspiration in, being a now paranormal journalist, apparently. Yes. Now, Three Tortured Souls. Whoever answered that just said 4 to 5 months. Is that you, Dave, or Tim, or Kenny?
That was me. I was addressing Jim's question.
Okay. Now, Dave, you did a research paper with Brandon recently. What was that one on?
No, that was with Kenny and Tim.
Oh, you did one with Brandon like ages back, though, didn't you?
Not with Brandon. I did one. No,
I thought you guys checked out somewhere, and
we are. It's actually we're writing a book on it. Brandon's leading the effort. We're just hopefully appropriately doing what he asks us to do.
Brandon's my favorite.
He's awesome. So we went to
Lloyd as well. You guys
went to a particular location and kind of
John Kennedy said mine's not working yet.
Oh. Well, John, you're obviously doing it wrong. Like,
go, John.
Most skeptical investigators.
Let's do it. Come on, Kennedy. Get your ass out of the cloud.
Anyway, but yeah, we went to a place. We had a bunch of people. Myself, Brandon, Dr. Don Molnar, the Haunted MD. You might have seen some of his stuff on Facebook. Great guy. And then Shane Feek. He's a really, really smart guy. He knows how to build data logging systems. He builds his own systems and does all the programming. And he's another guy that's into statistical analysis. So we have some fun conversations. So we went to a certain place. We spent a whole weekend there collecting information, everything from people's experiences to their past history and belief in the paranormal, and then monitoring the environment and doing a whole lot of stuff that has been put forward both in the recent academic literature as well as what you might see on the ghost hunting shows. Because if we thought, well, we're going to be fair about it and say it does or doesn't work, we better try it. So we did a bunch of stuff. So we're working on that, and I'm hoping we're going to be done with the first draft eventually here. So that's the book I'm working on with them too. And then I published the paper with Tim and Kenny on looking at EMF profiles in non-haunted locations.
Yes, that's really good. It needs, that sort of thing is vital in debunking stuff, Yep.
So,
not debunking, disproving, that sort of thing. Debunking is too, I don't know. Yep. Yeah, too much something.
Just getting the truth out there. That's what it is. Getting good research out there. That's really what it is.
Now, is that the one you guys are working on with the anthropologist, Dave? Is that the book you guys are working on? Or is that a paper Brandon's working on?
No, that might be a paper Brandon's working on.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now, other experiments, my favorite one that I think I even had to tell Lloyd about was that one where J.C. Bose got a bunch of trees drunk and gave them hangovers. That's really cool.
Wait, what? We can't talk about trees being drunk and gloss over that.
Bose,
we can't skip over that.
A bunch of trees under canvas pumped them full of alcohol gas and got them drunk. And then they got hangovers the next day, and he measured it. So yeah, it was funny. The poor trees, but I mean, hey, come on, it's funny.
I want to get a grant, and I want to try to make trees stoned.
You
I
just
think
need a
that's
couple
fair.
rocks.
That's well, we'll get them high. I'll get a grant. It's going to be for science. You know, if you guys want to help.
Was there a paper on this, like getting the trees drunk? Where
There
can I
is. There
find
is.
it?
I'll have to find a link and send it to you guys. It's in one of my blog pieces. Oh God, I can't remember which one. Plant Consciousness, part 1 or 2.
I gotta
Yes.
read that. We gotta find that. We gotta read that.
Yes, I think I sent it to you, Tim, and maybe you, Dave. I don't know if I sent
Okay,
it to
I'll
you,
check.
Timmy. I'm not
I'll check.
sure. It was a great experiment. Daniel Reed says petrified wood.
You got wood.
Oh boy.
I had a friend tell me last night, actually, that you can inject plants with whiskey and Valium and Serapax too.
That I gotta look into this.
And it works. It works, apparently.
You seem more relaxed. Interesting.
Apparently so. Maybe they fall
Well,
asleep. I don't know.
I'm finding stuff pretty quickly about referencing trees and plants getting drunk. I
He
haven't
beat
seen it.
Marconi to the radio, I think, J.C. Bowes. But Marconi got all the credit.
the
Interesting.
forest of drunken trees. Like if this was a movie or a book, I would watch it or read
It's
it.
a good horror
the
movie.
forest of drunken trees. It sounds like it should be like a kung fu movie.
Yep, I did a really deep dive to find it. I love a good deep dive. Yes,
Wanna see
it
what's
was
going on.
fantastic finding that. Oh, hello. What's his name?
That
Her
is
name.
Lula. That's the. She wanted to come up and see what's going on up here tonight. Yes, hello. All right.
Oh, hi, Lula. Lara's asleep in front of the heater. It's kind of cold still. The sun's a little bit dimmer now. We've got a bit of cloud rolling in over the mountains. Yes, now, sheep goat effect. Can we talk about that, guys? Kenny, I know you're not really big on that sort of stuff.
What was it?
Schmeidler, the sheep goat effect. 1942.
Dave?
You're up, Dave.
Open fire, Dave.
That's okay. What the idea is, if you're a sheep and you have belief that you're going to see more side effects in an experiment, if you're a goat, you're basically a non-believer and you don't see any positive results in side experiments. So, is it a thing? Possibly. I mean, there's obviously some data there that makes it interesting, but is it the one thing that always comes back to, is it a participant? Is it the person you're asking to do the experiment, or is it simply experimenter effect where, obviously there's studies that show, and I know Tim and Kenny are probably aware of these, that depending on the attitude of the researcher and how they interact and how they set up the experiment and their attitude towards it will have a big impact on the outcome of the experiment. It can.
Yes.
So it's something you got to be aware of. So that could potentially be playing a role in it. But
Now-
the sheep goat thing is basically, if you're a believer, you tend to do better on ESP tests, even if they're somewhat well controlled. And if you're a goat, a non-believer, you typically don't do as well, and you actually score in the potential negative direction, statistically so in a negative direction.
Yes. Now,
That's the idea anyway.
could that be to do with lack of anything happening to somebody? Because I'm, of course, a sheep. I got pinched on the butt once at Castlemaine Jail and everything. So yeah, I took it,
Sexual harassment by
I took it as a compliment.
yeah,
Well, there's the Hawthorne effect. There's one that I'm looking. I remember.
I've never heard of that one.
Well, the Hawthorne effect's just basically participants' behavior changes as a result that they know that they're being observed, or they're being, or they're in an experiment.
Right.
Yep.
Is that named after the author Nathaniel Hawthorne or something? Oh, I don't know. It probably
some
isn't.
psychologist that observed it.
Okay, yeah, probably not an author.
There's
He was a
another one.
horror.
I can't remember what it was, but we had to had it as well.
There's the Barnum effect too. The belief in horoscopes and everything. There's a sucker born each minute.
Well, that's more so that general descriptions, people will find they relate heavily to general descriptions that will relate to just about anybody because of the way they're spoken or written. You get your Barnum statements. That's the common term for it. And that's because you can go down. If I took a page of horoscopes, like just a random newspaper, took out the horoscopes, and I blacked out all the signs and gave them to you, you would be hard pressed to pick out yours because you would be able to go down all of them and probably find something relatable in each one of them.
Daniel Reed says Tim the Observer Effect.
Observer Effect.
Yeah, and I think that that could play into the sheep goat effect too. If you're a believer, in Kenny's example, you'd probably pick out more things that you think are related to you. You might take general statements and think they're more related to you, and somebody who's a disbeliever and that might basically say, this may be related to me, but it could be related to a whole bunch of people. So I'm not going to say it's specifically related to me. So the sheep goat thing is it a true parapsychological attribute that allows things to happen or not? Or is it more of a belief thing that's part of it that makes the way you interpret and how you see it come a part of it?
Like
or
is
it
seeing believing or is believing seeing sort of thing?
Yeah. Or is it the experimenter effect where you got somebody there in a white lab coat and they expect you to perform in a certain way? So there's a lot of different ways to take a look at the entire sheep goat thing. And actually Kenny's example is pretty good looking at the belief part of it as well.
What was the experiment? The one that they had the person shock, but they didn't actually shock.
Ghostbusters.
They didn't actually.
Yes, Ghostbusters.
No. Well, they actually had a person in a white lab coat with a clipboard, and they had someone pretending to be shocked. And what they had people come and they had.
That could have been Sheldrake, or I don't know. Sheldrake does a lot of stuff with that.
What it was a measure on how far people would inflict pain just because someone in a position of authority was telling them to do
Tom
so.
Flock says
I don't even need anybody.
There it is. Yes, the milligram. Thank you. That is a fascinating.
I don't need anybody in the room. I'll still electrocute you two till you pass out.
And I think Marilyn Schlitz and Dean Radin have done experiments with photons or ions or something, the observer effect sort of thing.
Yep, photons.
That's really keen. Like that's really cool. Like they seem to be.
Yeah,
they seem to know when they're being observed.
They repeated the particle wave experiment, the double slit experiment with basically they weren't observing it, but they were consciously thinking about it, or they were not consciously thinking about it. And they showed, according to his data, when people were consciously thinking about it, that it caused it to collapse, and you got the same result as they did when you look under the other experiments when you observe it.
Like we carry an outward, we emit our energy externally, sort of thing. And that has an effect on stuff. Now, Dave, you're a big maths geek. I watched something, I think it was on an Idiot Savant, that some mathematicians sort of view numbers as a landscape or a picture sort of thing. Now, that's really fascinating.
Yeah, it's funny you say
I
that.
can't, of course. Those hurt my head.
Funny you asked me that because we were just watching, my wife and I were watching an episode of Young Sheldon, and he was trying to teach his brother about linear algebraic equations or something. And he told him, close your eyes, and what do you see? And of course, his brother's like, the dark. And then he made some other comment. I see some girl with a bikini and it just fell off. But anyway, but Sheldon, the young Sheldon would say, when I close my eyes, I see all these numbers and they come together in a certain way. So, I mean, I've heard of it outside of the show that it's almost like they can visualize entire equations and solutions in their head, which
does that work for you?
Blows my mind.
Does that work for you?
I need a computer and a calculator. Otherwise, you're not going to get any answer out of me.
And a piece of paper.
And a piece of paper and
Draw it out.
about 14 reiterations of redoing the calculation.
Take pictures with my phone. I need a lot.
I mean, that would be sweet.
Send Dave a message.
I could save a lot of time if I could just close my eyes and come up with the answer.
Now, Dave, Tim, you guys are big on parapsychology. You guys know the Schumann resonances are one of my all-time favorite things to talk about. Does that, for you guys, prove the possibility of ESP or telepathy? You know, that the Persingers work with Harabins, that Irish guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is that because there might be brain waves that resonate at the same frequency, and it could serve as some sort of carrier or enhancer. I think, if I remember right, that's what they were talking about.
Yes.
However, there's still plenty of cases where Schumann resonances were the levels were very low, or they've done a variety of telepathy experiments in Faraday cages, which would filter that all out, and they still either get positive or negative results. So
yes, because
honestly,
they did one at the Max Planck Institute, I think. They locked a bunch of people underground somewhere.
Yeah, but those have a mix of positive and negative results. So for me, the Schumann resonance thing it's an interesting concept. Maybe they're thinking carrier wave of some sort, but I think the data is very inconclusive as of right now. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion.
Yes. Yeah, well, we need more. Of course, we always need more because everyone's not ever going to believe. Of course, that's the thing about this. That's one thing that keeps us going, I guess, that search for answers and stuff. Now let's move on to demons. Kenny, get the Kraken ready.
Come on, demon boy. Zach Bagans. Come on, boy.
I'm drinking.
Demons.
Go, Kenny. Go,
Demons.
Kenny. Oh, I've
demons.
got a question after that. But we'll go on for demons first.
Guys, has been having this problem, but I haven't been getting no notifications at all for you guys or for Skeptical Help Bar for weeks. So I didn't have a show last Friday. So I don't know what I don't know. Facebook is weird. But it does go up when I have a show, but last week I didn't do one. So you didn't get a notification because there was nothing to notify you of. But
we'll have to look into it. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't schedule one for this week yet. I will, but
if I scheduled it, it's most likely user error on my part that you're not getting a notification. Probably my problem.
Now, moving on to demons and
demons.
Demons. Mythology. I don't know what else to go with it. It's
yes, mental illness as a misinterpretation, that sort of
so
thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, you have mythology to start. Demons come from mythology. They are evolved stories.
They were originally called daemons, I believe. A Greek good luck thing.
I mean, you can actually go back further and find that they are a bunch of pagan gods that were turned either into demons or angels. There's when you keep going back, you'll find a lot of history with this. But in modern day, there's things called your inner demons. There's mental illness. There's a lot of problems out there that people might that let me say it this way, that amateurs that think they're professionals and experts will go into a private home and classify as demonic when they don't know what they're doing because they can't diagnose any kind of mental health issues. So we see that often. I don't think, personally, I'm not sure where we're going with this question. I'm just going to say that.
No, that was just a general thing, And now we can move on from that anyways. The hum. What are your thoughts on that? Because I hear it, unfortunately.
The hum, the one...
The worldwide hum, the thing that people attributed to mating fish. And air conditioner coolers and LORAN and HARP and everything.
I've heard of
Like
that.
a low frequency, I don't know, extra ultra something. Sounds like a van idling somewhere in the distance. It's really annoying sometimes.
You had your hearing checked?
Yes, I have. It's not tinnitus. It's not a high pitched thing. It's a really, really low pitched thing.
I think,
And I read somewhere that people who first heard radio frequency coming from the towers, people thought they were sick. You know,
You can't hear radio frequency.
It's not a sound thing. It's somehow misinterpreted by your brain. It's the only way it can interpret it. I read that somewhere. This guy called David Deming, he's a geologist. I think he has a map that charts experiences from people all around the world, even in Antarctica and Mongolia and everything. And it's annoying. Oh, John Kennedy says, I've noticed that as well.
I think it's
mine happens all the time. Everywhere I've moved, John, mine has happened. Yeah, I've been from Frankston to East Doncaster to Rosebud down on the peninsula here in Victoria. Yeah, it's really annoying. I at first thought it was noisy neighbors with bad bass on their techno. And I went for walks in my dressing gown and PJs at like 1 o'clock in the morning, trying to look for the bastards. You're like, turn it the hell down.
I think it's a low percentage of people, so you're one of the probably few.
Unfortunately.
But I don't think they know what it is. They've
yeah.
What I remember, they think, is it wind? Is it tectonic activity? Is it the ocean waves? I don't think they really know what it is.
Yes.
I think they've acknowledged that people actually do for sure hear it, but they don't really know what it's caused from.
Yes, I mean, it's annoying as all get out. Yeah, but now, let me see. Historic figures you guys have helped absolve. You know, Kenny, you helped absolve Bathsheba, I think.
Oh, yes.
You know, because
I
she was
took part in
accused
that.
of being a witch and everything. And Jim Brunette says, how far does this go back? It goes back to the 1940s, Jim, apparently. That's the first thing I could find.
It might be the demons that he was referring to, maybe.
Oh, the demons. Okay. Oh, I don't know. Yes.
Recorded history, basically. As far as back as you've had any kind of religions.
Ancient Egypt. I mean, they used to sleep in tombs and everything. I don't know. Maybe it comes from that. Yes. Oh, Jim Brunette says the hum. Yeah, back to the 1940s when people first started putting up radio towers and everything, and people could hear it. Or not hear it, you know. Yeah, but it's been annoying and fascinating ever since then. Yes, now, where were we? Historic figures, Bathsheba, Kenny, go.
Yes. Bathsheba was a woman that lived, oh my goodness, it's been a while. She was in the 1800s, late 1800s, and she was associated with the Conjuring House up in Rhode Island. And she's in the movie, the first movie, The Conjuring. She was depicted as the main demonic kind of entity that was responsible for everything. And she was absolutely not. Historical record shows she had nothing to do with the house or the family that lived in the house. She was accused of killing a baby in some kind of sacrificial rite or exercise or something like that with a needle, sewing needle in the back of the head. And that there was a inquest about this, but there is no such thing. There is no records of this. She was a good woman. She was buried in her church's cemetery. The church oversaw her burial. So if she did all this stuff, she certainly would not have been buried in that cemetery. But I went through all the records, and the Andrea Perron, who wrote about these experiences, she had like House of Light, House of Darkness kind of thing. It's a overblown, very fattened up 3-volume set that is a waste of time. Don't buy it. Don't read it.
I won't. I promise.
Waste of time. But
I mean, the Warrens. Now we could play a drinking game with that too. Everything they've misinterpreted or done wrong.
Misinterpreted? I don't know if I would go that way. I would say outright changed everything. Deliberately fabricated shit and
Yes.
manipulated information in order to
Yes.
sell a story. That's my
Yes.
opinion.
And
That's
bullied.
totally my opinion. I don't like what they did. I don't like how they acted with every case that they worked on. It was more about, let's get it on in a book. Let's get it on our lecture circuit. Let's talk about the family without the family's permission. I don't like what they did at all. I don't think they were good investigators whatsoever. I think they were
Yes.
con artists. And again, that's my opinion.
I mean, possible mental illness too. I mean, she saw.
I think they were just dicks.
and
I think Kenny's right.
that brings us to haunted objects. I mean, I know, Kenny, you have a collection of apparently haunted objects. Now, Lloyd talked about that in his chat the other week. Sorry, there's something I read somewhere about things that can be activated, like our energies can be activated in objects by heat or cold or something like that. I can't remember the name of the process. Yeah, you guys can type faster than I can. I can't do it right now.
That's more of an answer than Tim got out of John Zaffis.
Yes.
That's more information. He was probably hoping to hear something like that.
I was hoping for something. That's the one that
Because I find that
walked
fascinating.
away from me.
I think Zach's full of crap, of course. but
Turned
yeah.
and walked.
I should drink now.
That
yes.
was good, Dave.
I mean, how does it still, the bottom line is, how does it work? How do you become attached? Whatever part
I
of
don't know. I
you
wrote a blog somewhere.
I mean, whatever survives, if part of your consciousness survives, how and why would it attach to an object? The alternate hypothesis from a parapsychological perspective is more like psychometry. Maybe you're reading
Yes.
the history
I
of
mean,
the
it was
of the
a
object,
process
but
called-
even that's questionable, obviously.
It was a process called pyro something, or I don't know, something to do with heat or cold, or I don't know what the thing with cold is. I can't remember the name. Yeah, it's in a blog post somewhere that I did. I can't remember the name of the post either. Yes. Now, Kenny Biddle said, "How were they attached to an object?" Thanks for that, man. Ghost caught on tape.
There you go. I got one of those in the corner.
I think Gary has something somewhere to my mentor. Yes. Oh God. Now, other historic figures. Have you helped debunk any others with the CFI or the CSI sort of thing? Or JD, have you guys helped debunk any other?
So JD and I have a couple articles in the works. They're actually submitted, and it deals with. It's not really a spoiler. I'm not going to give you any details, but
that's okay.
There's a book called True Haunting, and it was supposed to be out as a movie earlier this year, and it's about I think it's in Chicago, but about a house that was allegedly haunted, and again back in the 70s. Because in the 70s, every freaking place was haunted.
Of course.
The way it was. But they were on TV, and the claim to fame was that they were the first televised exorcism on live TV. Because it was featured on
the inspiration for the movie The Exorcist?
It was not. No.
Okay, that was a boy.
Different one. It was covered by the local news. And it wasn't real. It wasn't a real exorcism. I mean, it was a guy that it looked like he pretended to be a priest and a psychic that came in and did something. And they claimed that they got stuff on photography. We looked into a lot of the details and actually spoke with the current owner of the place. And absolutely, I mean, I know, spoiler alert, nothing's happened since.
Yes.
But we did a deep dive into it, and that should be coming out within, I think that's going to be closer to the October issue, because, it's a good story. It's a really good story.
Is this the story we all kind of looked at maybe a couple years ago on our show that had the pictures and we discussed it? They apparently had a picture of something floating around the room. There's a bunch of people in the room. Black and white photos.
No, that was a different.
No, that was the entity.
Okay.
The entity case, yeah.
Oh yes, I read about that one, the sex ghost sort of thing.
Yeah, Doris Byther was the woman that claimed to have been raped multiple times by at least
and
three.
John Kennedy says in the 80s we had haunted
Got
music.
haunted.
That was Metallica, right? The Satanic Panic sort of thing, wasn't it, John?
There was a lot of heavy metal or metal music that was attributed to Satan worship and stuff because righteous,
especially if you played it back.
Yeah.
I'm
mean,
a
it's
fan
just
too of some. Not all, not the really heavy stuff, but I'm a fan too of some. Yes, I love me some Motley Crue and Skid Row, of course, and yeah, cheesy 80s stuff. Not cheesy really. Some of it's awesome. And yes, now that let us move on to plugs. I think you guys have already covered that actually. We've been talking for an hour and a goddamn half already. It's gone so fast. This has
Oh my God, I love that.
Fantastic.
We can sure kill
John
time.
Kennedy says yes, exactly.
John.
With the Satanic Panic stuff.
Yeah. I mean, Satanic Panic was more, I think it was more just wannabe academics or religious people getting crazy because they wanted to censor stuff that they didn't like, you know, and it's easy to get people riled up against something. It's just easy. It's easy to do. It's easy to get somebody that's riled up against some, like the younger generation or something different. You know, if you're not walking around in all white, you know, with your freaking battery operated halo above your head all the time, then you're a bad person.
You know, that reminds me that somebody in a religious position that had money or a seat of power got really bored, and that's the shit that happens. They're just like, what am I going to, you know, who can I mess with? And
now I guess
in the 80s it was D&D and heavy metal.
Yes.
Side note, you should watch Dee Snider in his presentation to Congress.
That was Twisted Sister, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. He came out very shockingly educated and well spoken, and I think that they were not prepared, but I think he did a good job.
They were all right, those guys. Favorite conspiracy theory ever? That would be our last question, I think. Because I've got to eat. I'm starving.
I do really love the Flat Earth because I love the fans of Flat Earth because they're so committed. Like they're just committed.
Yes.
But it might not be my favorite. So let me think for a while. But I do, you know.
What's
the question?
That sort of thing.
Favorite
Cinder.
conspiracy.
Tom Flock says Cinder. He completely wrecks Tipper Gore. Snyder.
Yes.
Snyder, yeah.
So did January
is
from Warrant. He did
a
song
beautiful
called
moment.
Ode to Tipper Gore, which was full of F words and S words and that sort of thing. Yes.
So let's see. My favorite conspiracy theory, the fact that people really think the government is completely and 100% covering up UFOs.
That was mine, you bitch.
You gotta jump in, man. You gotta talk more. Holy shit.
sorry.
Never thought you'd hear me say that during a show with Kenny. You gotta talk more.
You're doing great, man. I love it.
I have a point of order.
Now, any other ones, Kenny?
That is not a conspiracy theory. That's true.
Oh, shut up.
All right, now how about Bruce? Bruce, the Bigfoot, is that his name?
Oh, that's what happens when you mention the government.
No, I'm here. Sorry. I'm here. I'll be right back.
Someone's knocking at my door now.
Damn. I was like,
thanks a lot, Dave.
He was like, screw you guys. I'm out of here. Oh, my
now,
goodness.
what about the Bigfoot?
Bigfoot? What about him? I just spent a week in Washington State and Oregon, where I was surprised about how much Bigfoot is a part of their culture out there. Because it was everywhere, every store, every gift shop, every whatever. It was Bigfoot. I mean, we've talked about this before. We've done a show on it, looking at the possibility of a population and what it would take. And there's just, I don't think there's any way it can happen. I don't think something like that could exist without us already finding it. And if it does exist, I have to say that it's 100% naturally blurry because
Yes.
no matter what you do, you cannot get a sharp. I mean, we can get sharp images of people like a mile away and stuff with a camera phone, but
Yep.
you know, Bigfoot's 20 feet away behind a
Yep.
tree, and we can't get a
Can't get him.
clear shot of them.
Yep.
So-
You can't get him. Oh, Daniel Reed said Bigfoot seems to be everywhere in West Virginia now as well.
That doesn't surprise me.
He's my cousin.
They're cousins.
Mothman's my cousin. Bigfoot's my cousin. So
I
the
mean,
whole thing with like getting a picture like that, and one of the things I like to always mention is like we get pictures of freaking albino squirrels. We get pictures of albino
black
deer.
ones too. Black ones.
Yes,
Yep.
like we get
They're
some very
gorgeous.
rare anomalies in animals,
Yes.
and you still see them, and people still can stop and get a picture of them. But apparently, a 8 to 12-foot beast roaming around, knocking trees over, that communicates by clacking rocks together, you can't get a picture of, or at least one that you can see.
Yes. Now, do you think that could be because they don't want us to find them? I mean, let's face it. Who would? We'd kill them.
Yeah, but with that, that's a good
Or
question.
hope something,
That's
you know.
honestly a really good question, because now we are pushing a human personality onto this creature, and we don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's
Like
it.
we're saying, oh, well, Bigfoot doesn't want to be found. How
Yeah.
the frick do you know that? We don't.
Yeah. I
This
know.
is-
I don't know. I
And
don't
it's
know.
just like saying that a deer or a rabbit or a raccoon doesn't
Yeah.
want to be found by humans. I mean, we don't know that, but still, we find them in our garbage. We find them in our yards. We find them in the fields or crossing the street. You know, how many deer get hit by cars all the time? We can't.
Yeah, well, I
we
mean,
can't push that
Sheldrake's stuff.
personality onto a creature that we don't even know exists.
Yeah, I mean, Sheldrake's on that sort of thing with normal animals, you know, like with photographers and big game hunters and everything, where the animals or birds seem to know they were being observed, that sort of thing. So maybe they don't want to be found, these guys. I don't know. It's what keeps us going, I guess. But now it's an hour and 35 goddamn minutes in already.
I adore the way you say that.
It's gone so fast, though, guys. But
It's
now,
10,
plans,
goddamn 30.
plans for future events. Dave, Tim, Kenny, what have you guys got going on? Plug yourselves.
Three Tortured Souls the first Wednesday of every month, and I think we're supposed to all be at Mothman. At least right now we are. Mothman Festival. Third week of September, I think it is.
15th,
Something like that.
16th, yeah, 15th to the 17th.
Okay, 15th to the 17th.
September,
That's
yeah.
the plan right now. So that's it for me.
Daniel's
Okay,
going to
so
be
you
there.
guys doing public speaking stuff at the moment, aside from you, Kenny? Or
If I'm asked, sure, but I don't make a point of trying to seek out conferences and go and talk.
yep. Daniel Reed says woot.
He's happy. Yeah.
He's going to be at the Mothman Festival with us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know if Greg Lawson will be going or not, but he's just written a book called Messages from Mothman. So he's pretty keen on
That'd be a
Mothman.
good place to sell your book.
Yeah.
Well,
Pepperoni rolls.
would be. I think he would go there, actually. Yes. So yeah, I tagged him in stuff, so hopefully he will. Yeah. Yeah. Now, thank you so much, guys. Now, pages, podcasts, that sort of thing. Aside from 3TS, Dave. Oh, sorry, Tim, Kenny. I think we covered that, didn't we, guys? I'm really sorry. I'm
It's
sorry.
all right.
You're doing. I think I want to give a shout out to a page and an organization that Daniel, who's
Yes,
here,
shout
started.
outs too, guys.
It is a West Virginia
Absolutely.
Skeptics Society. I think he's taken a really good step at
Mhm.
trying to organize a place that people can debate, talk, swap ideas, and maybe get in
Yes.
some friendly fights like we do here.
Yes.
And
Good
he's
stuff.
done a really good job with it, and I think he's done well.
Good job.
Daniel Reed says, thank you, Tim.
If you want to find more work that I do, the articles that I've written, or videos that I do, you can go to skepticalinquirer.org and just type in my name in the search box, and all my stuff will come up.
Don't click on everything with his name in it.
Don't, yeah. Just on the Skeptical Inquirer website. If you Google my name and all kinds of shit.
Beware of what you might find.
Yeah. I also do a
OnlyFans.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got to make a living, dude. You got to have
Dragon.
I do the Skeptical Help Bar live stream every Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's a 2-hour Q&A and or a guest. This Friday, it's going to be a week West Coast recap. That's what I'm going to call it, because it's talking about everything I did on the West Coast last week. And then what else do? I do 3 Tortured Souls with these guys. The first Wednesday of every month, we get together, we have a topic, and we discuss the crap out of it, and have a good time doing it. So there you go. That's me.
You do indeed. The one with Jason Hawes the other week was awesome. Now, Dave, when's your next side chat? I think.
No idea. It's just I'm too busy with. We actually cut back 3 Tortured Souls because of the schedule and with my work schedule. I really can't honestly tell you. It's it's still. We talk about it, but honestly, we just haven't done anything in such a long time. So it's going to be a complete reboot if we decide to do it.
Yeah. And now, are you planning on getting active in the parafield again? Getting your team started again, or have you got any plans?
Nope, nothing with the team. We'll do independent research projects with researchers. And good. That's all we're going to do.
That's amazing. And oh God, thank you guys so much again. I mean, you guys are in a way letting me use you as my educational tools, because that I don't have much reach and I want to teach people, and I'm doing it now. And thank you guys so much for this. And I've really got to pee again. It's the Guinness.
All right. Well, thanks, Kat.
Yeah, but thank you so much.
This is a perfect moment for me to bring up. I wanted to devise and develop and put out on the market podcast adult diapers, because I think it would work. I've had this. Yes, Kenny. You
guys don't know, but I'm totally peeing right now. Oh yeah.
We laugh, but when he's a millionaire, we're gonna be crying. Because we didn't buy into this.
Like that little rivals, that diapers they have on the middle, the baseball or football teams, that sort of
the stadium buddy.
Yes, now thank you so much, guys. It's been a fantastic freaking chat. I've enjoyed every minute, and I've really got to pee and I've got to eat, but thank you so much again, guys. And all my guests have inspired me, and thank you so much again. And I'll go pee now, folks. I'll let these guys go and relax. It's kind of late over there. I don't know what time it is over there.
10:30 for me.
Yeah, 10:30.
Oh, good God. So. Shit. Yes, okay. I'll go pee. Thanks very much, everybody. Thanks, Kenny, Dave, and Tim. Good night. Good morning. Good afternoon over here. Daniel Reed says good night, Daniel. Okay. Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Boom, 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 boom.